Karen ignores warnings of choking hazards in our ice cream and gives it to her kid. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. I work in an ice cream parlor in a tourist zone of my town. Weekends are an absolute nightmare for us because of the sheer amount of people coming in. On one special and magical day, entitled mother comes in with 3 kids. There was nothing about her that could have warned me that she was a Karen. 2 of the kids looked not much older than 5, and the other one couldn't have been older than 3. The kids were, as expected, attracted to our most colorful choices of ice cream. All of them are almost pure sugar and chemical flavors. The older kids asked for 2 scoops, and I know for a fact that 2 scoops is too much for them since our serving sizes are absolutely huge. So I tell the mom I'll make 1 scoop and she'll see whether or not she wants to pay for 2. She insisted I do whatever her kids want, so I obliged. I don't care if you pay $7 on a cone your kid won't even eat half of. The real problem came when the youngest kid, a cute little girl, wanted the blue ice cream, bubblegum. I warned entitled mother that the bubblegum ice cream contains full-size bubblegums, and there's a risk of choking for small kids. She responded with something along the lines of, "Oh, it's okay, she's old enough. And anyway, there's no warning, so I'm sure you're exaggerating." I show her one of the bubblegums. Entitled mother gets frustrated and says, "Just don't put any in her ice cream." It's impossible. They're already in the ice cream, and I can't guarantee there won't be any in the scoops I give her. "I don't care, just give her whatever she wants or I'll make a complaint." My manager is the sweetest boss I've ever had, and she always backs up her employees when a client acts entitled. So it wasn't much of a threat. Yet I still gave her the ice cream because I was only 2 hours into my shift and I had 6 more coming. And I didn't want any drama this early. As soon as the little girl got her ice cream, she went on to join her brothers, who were on the other side of the shop, eating their Super Kid ice creams. When it was time to pay, entitled mother started arguing about the prices. Keep in mind, I had warned her about the price of her son's cones earlier. I guess she wasn't interested in what a low-life ice cream parlor employee had to say. "Impossible! 4 ice creams can't be worth that much. You're trying to scam me." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but those are our prices. The prices on the boards behind me do not include the taxes." "I don't care about the taxes. How can 4 ice creams be worth $26? "Well, your sons both took 2 scoops, which is $6 each. Plus they took waffle cones, which are $1 each. So we're already at $14. You took 2 scoops on a sugar cone, so $6.75 more, and your daughter had 1 scoop for $4.25 plus extra candies for $1. So it gives a total of $26. "This is ridiculous. Who charges for the waffle cones anyway? Those regular cones are disgusting. No one wants that. The cones should be free." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't make the prices. This is what it is. Now, will you pay cash or card?" I was harsh enough in my tone that she understood she wouldn't win this argument with me. She got out a card and pouted. "I'll pay Visa." While she was taking her sweet time, I just happened to take a look around the line of customers waiting and something caught my eye and my heart sank. Little girl was as blue as her ice cream, and her brothers were frantically slapping her in the back trying to help her. I flew over the counter and pushed oblivious people aside to reach the poor girl. I bent down and told her I was going to try and help. I'll never forget the look in her eyes. She was desperate. I immediately started the Heimlich procedure. I looked my coworker dead in the eyes and yelled, "Go call an ambulance!" I told a regular customer who was friends with my boss to go get Julie. As I was trying to still save little girl, I started to panic. She still wasn't breathing. Then entitled mother came up to me and started yelling at me. I was too focused on my task to hear her, but my coworker said she was yelling that I was hurting her daughter. She even tried to stop me, but a customer who knew I was doing the best I could stopped her. My manager finally arrived and jumped on her knees next to me. She asked me to hand little girl over. I did. Little girl was as limp as a rag doll by that time. My manager jammed a finger in little girl's mouth and successfully dislodged the fricking bubble gum out of little girl's throat. My manager's a retired nurse. She knew what she was doing. Little girl coughed and gasped, but she wasn't responsive. She was breathing, but her eyes were half closed. She wasn't crying like a 3-year-old would after such a traumatic event. Entitled mother just stood there yelling at us, not once trying to reach and hug her own daughter. My manager held little girl and was trying to communicate with her. "What did you do to my baby girl? She was choking." "Liar, she's a big girl now. She knows how to eat. You just assaulted her." "I was doing the Heimlich procedure, you moron." I stood up, angry, not willing to take any more crap from that entitled mother. "She choked on the bubble gum, and I warned you about it." Entitled mother was shocked by my extreme anger and took a step back. I guess my yelling got the attention of the dad who was waiting outside, because he suddenly appeared out of nowhere asking what was going on. Entitled mother walked behind him and said, "This girl assaulted our daughter. Now she's trying to attack me." "What? Where's little girl?" I pointed at her and said, "She's over here. She was choking on bubblegum and I tried to help." Dad was apparently a way better parent than entitled mom because he rushed to his daughter and held her in his arms. The paramedic arrived and examined her. She was still in crisis. Her brain was without oxygen for who knows how long. While the paramedics were there working on her, the police also arrived. Apparently, entitled mother had called them during the panic. Entitled mother tried to convince them I assaulted little girl, but every customer present at the store, along with employees and the camera, were there to back me up. Then she changed her story and claimed I purposefully gave little girl a dangerous ice cream without warning her. But again, I had proof that I had showed her the bubblegum and the camera also shows her "I don't care" gesture. Dad was livid at entitled mom. He yelled at her that this was all her fault, that she was always like this, and this time she went too far. "You almost killed her! Would it kill you to give a crap about them for once?" Entitled mother started crying and saying that it wasn't her fault, that I was the one who hurt little girl. Dad got in the ambulance with little girl, and entitled mother got a fine for calling the police under false claims. She left with her 2 sons, looking down. I think she had just realized what had happened, because she was pale as a ghost. I don't know what happened to little girl, and I never really asked my manager if entitled mother sued our shop for the event or not, but I was traumatized for weeks. Having someone's life in your hands is not a glorious feeling at all, especially a young kid like little girl. I have a small hope that she's fine, but I still remember her lying lifeless as the paramedic tried to talk to her. I feel so guilty for giving her the ice cream. Oh, this is a horrible situation to be in. While it's not your fault at all, I understand how when something like this happens, you immediately feel guilty about whatever it is that you did do. You tried to warn her and she didn't want to listen. You were just doing your job. Sure, you could have turned her down and said no to giving her the ice cream, but it is what it is. She's the mother, she's responsible for her child. At the end of the day, who knows what this would have escalated to if you had have refused to give it to the kid. This mother is clearly out of control, but it's natural to blame yourself and always be thinking, what could I have done differently? Our original poster did everything they could in this situation, I feel. And while it's easy for me to say, I hope they've been able to find it within themselves to move on. It sounds like they have. I just really hope little girl's okay and that something happens with this mother to get her away from these kids. It sounds like this isn't the first time something like this has happened, and maybe Dad has finally had enough. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below. And don't forget to subscribe. I called a random lady a creep for trying to help me change my baby. Today, I took my 3-month-old twins to the supermarket by myself while my wife had a day to herself. She's a stay-at-home mom and I've been working a lot more due to the holidays. While shopping, my daughter pooped. And I mean she pooped. There's no changing tables in the men's room and there was no family bathroom. I went to the Starbucks in the store and asked if I could change her on one of the tables in the back. I have a blanket and changing pad in my bag. Her butt wouldn't be on the bare table. The barista said yes, so I got to business. An older woman, probably late 40s or early 50s, came up to me and started talking to my son who I was baby wearing on my back. He's cute, so I didn't pay any mind. She then started telling me I needed to make sure to wipe her little Tukey, referring to her privates. I told her I'm well aware of how to change a diaper. She continued to critique my wiping style, and eventually I went to change her clothes due to baby poop blowout. And while I was putting her dirty clothes in a waste bag, the woman goes to put her clothes on her. I snatched my daughter up off the table and told the woman I don't need someone else dressing my baby. Go away, you creep. The woman looked flabbergasted and then started crying, saying she was only trying to help. Pretty much everyone in the surrounding area told me that was an overreaction, and she was only trying to assist me. I feel bad for snapping at her. My wife told me not to because she would have done the same thing, but I feel like a jerk. Am I? This one I don't really know how to feel about. Sure, from the outside looking in, you just see a woman trying to help someone with a cute baby. But we all know parents are super protective of their kids, especially at that age. You don't know who this woman is, or what she might try to pull. We've all heard stories about people trying to steal babies or something. Sure, you want to assume the best of people, but society unfortunately has taught us otherwise. And we're always going to be careful as a result. You're always going to assume the worst when it comes to protecting your kid. It's natural to be a little bit paranoid. As far as I'm concerned, if dad has it under control and says he doesn't want any help, just back off. Leave him alone. I could see how from the outside looking in, it might be an overreaction. But both of the actual parents of the kid felt the same way. Just don't touch them. I don't know you. My boyfriend and I let our disposal of the Christmas tree get out of hand to the point where it looked like a murder scene. This happened 8 years ago, but time has worn down my pride enough that I'm willing to finally share this story with the world. It was recently suggested to me that I leave my Christmas tree up a little longer in order to further enjoy the cheeriness it brings to the living room. This is an easy thing to suggest when you haven't seen the things I've seen, when you haven't done the things that my boyfriend and I have done. You see, when you have 1 year when you leave your tree up until May, that experience changes you. It changes Christmas forever. We've always used real trees as opposed to artificial ones, which means they need to be disposed of after the holidays. Back when we lived in an apartment, they had a small window of time when you could leave the tree by the curb, and they would haul it away for you. Unfortunately, we missed that window, which turned into weeks and weeks of pretending the tree just didn't exist. Sure, the ornaments came down, but the skeletal remains of Christmas stood in our living room as a monument to our evasion of basic responsibilities. One day in late February or so, we realized we could be having friends over for dinner. We thought, oh my god, we can't let people know we still have this tree. So we did what any logical couple would do, and we hid it in the closet with a white blanket over it. You can imagine how terrifying it was in the beginning when you would get up to use the restroom in the middle of the night and see an 8-foot-tall Christmas tree ghost looming in the doorway. I don't know what the final straw was. Maybe it was the storage space we were losing by having a massive cloaked Douglas fir in our closet. Maybe it was that we missed using the blanket that had taken on a new purpose in life. Whatever it was, we knew we couldn't avoid this issue any longer. The problem of how to dispose of the tree still existed. We couldn't leave it at the curb, and we knew wherever we took it, it was going to leave a breadcrumb trail of humiliation straight to our doorstep. That's when the saw came out. Into the wee hours of the night, we carefully disassembled the tree until it was compact enough to fit into a cardboard box. By 2 a.m., we were covered in sweat and sap, but we were able to stealthily discard the box in a nearby dumpster. On that day, we vowed to never again let the disposal of a Christmas tree become an episode of Forensic Files. And now my shameful past is out in the open for the internet to enjoy. Okay, first things first, I do have to say kudos to the original poster on this one for just the way they wrote it. I couldn't stop laughing throughout the whole thing, and this one took me quite a while to actually get through. These are honestly my favorite ones. There's no drama or anything like that really, minus what they've projected onto themselves. There's no real jerk, just two ordinary people trying not to let other ordinary people know that they kinda screwed up a little bit. We all let things get away from us once in a while. We all have that one section of the house that definitely needs a once-over that we probably should have gotten to a long time ago and still don't do. On that front, this story's completely relatable, although I will admit it did go a little further than it should have. But given the innocence of the whole situation, I think that's entirely forgivable. Entitled mother demands I rearrange my work schedule so that I can continue to pick up her daughter. So this story happened around 2 to 3 years ago, when I bought myself an early Christmas present. It was a Hogwarts bag because I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. So for our cast today, we have me, beautiful girl, and entitled mother of beautiful girl. When this story started, I had a steady schedule at work, usually 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So beautiful girl, 11 at the time, entitled mother, and me waited for the bus together. We always rode the same bus, although they got off a few stops before me. We never really spoke until the second day I had my new bag. On this day, I also wore my Gryffindor scarf and my Hogwarts hat because it was freezing. So beautiful girl looked at me with a face that I can only describe as fascination. "Mom, look at the girl over there! You said merch is only for kids, but she looks amazing!" I overheard this and smiled. Entitled mother didn't say anything but gave her daughter a mean look. Beautiful girl ignored it and walks over to me and said, "I really like your bag, and this hat's amazing. Where'd you get that?" "Stop bothering the lady." It's not a problem at all. I started answering the question and we started talking about Harry Potter, and that I was her age when I started reading it and so on. This went on for a few weeks. Then entitled mother got to know that we live in neighboring apartment complexes and asked if I would be okay with picking her up in the morning. Entitled mother did home office and could start working earlier if I bring her to the bus and ride to school with her. I said why not, and we exchanged numbers, so I can inform her when I'm sick or when I need to cover a late shift. This worked like a charm. I bonded quite well with the girl, and she began to call me auntie. I was totally okay with it. The problem began when I started my new job in October. The first few weeks were training. It also started at 8 a.m., but after that, I have a flexible schedule and start somewhere between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. I told entitled mother that in September. When I called her to remind her that she needs to bring beautiful girl to school again, this conversation happened. Keep in mind, beautiful girl is 14 by now. Hey, entitled mother, I wanted to remind you that my schedule changed and I can't go with beautiful girl anymore. But I need you to. I changed my hours and I can't change it again. I'm already on the kick list. I'll never understand how you can log in late for home office constantly. Hey, you know what? Beautiful girl is 14 by now. I'm sure she can cross the road and get off the bus at the right stop. No, please. Tell your job you can only start at 8 a.m. so that you can bring beautiful girl to school. Entitled mother, listen, I can't do that because being flexible was a criteria to get the job. But beautiful girl likes you a lot. She really enjoys the bus rides with you. Beautiful girl knows she can call me anytime to hang out or when she needs help with homework. I will not change anything for a 14-year-old that told me multiple times that you're overprotective. After that, I hung up. Beautiful girl sends me a text afterwards that she's now allowed to ride to school alone, but her mom has told her that after that message, she's not allowed to hang out with me anymore. Guess who wants to meet up tomorrow for a walk? See, this is one where you guys had a good thing going. Our original poster was getting along with the girl really well. They had something that they bonded over and got to know each other, and ended up forming a pretty good relationship. I'm sure our original poster was just as disappointed to not be able to spend that time with her anymore. But the fact of the matter is, time has gone on, apparently 3 years at this point, and unfortunately things change with time. Original poster got a new job that just doesn't allow them to do this anymore. But instead of entitled mother thanking our original poster for looking after their daughter for all these years, they choose to get snippy about it. I don't know why you would expect someone else to change their schedule to take care of your daughter. If anyone should have to bite that bullet, it should be you. Clearly, that's asking too much though, because in the end, she did go along with what our original poster suggested and just let her daughter take the bus by herself. But she had to try and take it one step further by trying to end communication between our original poster and the girl, despite the fact that they'd formed quite a nice friendship. It's like, since you're not doing what she needs and helping her anymore, you're not of any use to her. So she's not gonna let you talk the way you did to her and still spend time with her daughter, even though she had it coming. At least everything's kind of worked out where everyone's still getting where they need to go at the time they need to be there, and our two friends are still spending time together. Hopefully entitled mother isn't too much of a jerk about it when she finds out. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out Easy Mode. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.